Well, it's been a while, so let's take a look and see how the old Falcon Cap movie is doing. Let's head over to the numbers here and let's take a look. $413 million worldwide. That is not good. The domestic box office in North America has not broken 200 million yet at this point, and the international box office is just 13 million over 2 million, 200 million worldwide. That is not, this movie is not going to even get anywhere close to 500 million. That seems to be the end of it. You see the literal slump off point there. And when you look at it, the overall takings for it is no longer even cracking $1,000 per cinema. It's gone. It's at this point, at the time of this video, it's at 57 days into there. So that is not looking really well at all. This movie is a certified flop. There's no other way to put it, no other to do. This movie is not going to hit 500 million. It's not going to make any money. It has lost money. That is what has happened. Now let's look at another MCU project that also flopped very, very hard. The Marvels, which only pulled in a worldwide box office of 199 million worldwide. So this didn't even make 200 million worldwide. The domestic box office is 84 million. The international box office is 115 million. I am not surprised. I saw the movie. I did a review. Made it very clear it was garbage. There's no other way to put it. It was a terrible movie. It was basically like kind of a cheap knockoff of Spaceballs, and it couldn't even do that right. The literal slump of here is absolutely horrendous. The thing is here, when you look at the days this is here, this goes all the way down to 56 days. 56 days this was in cinema for. Before they pretty much dumped it onto the streaming. 56 days. When you look at Captain America Brave New World, you understand me? This one is at 57. And this is already on streaming. So nobody's going to cinema to watch this anymore. So like I said, this is not going to make any more money. That is, it's not going to make any more money. As for the Marvels, that was a colossal failure. And it did not even make 200 million worldwide. But however, now the director, Nia DaCosta, is coming out and say that, this wasn't the movie she wanted to make. This wasn't even her first or second draft of the movie, and they changed a whole bunch of things after she came out playing the race card early on. Now she said, hey, this wasn't my movie. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's dive into this from this article here from Bounding into Comics. The Marvel's director says MCU Bomb's final cut was not the movie that I pitched or even the first version that I shot. Sure. In providing yet further insight into Disney and Marvel Studios' current mishandling of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, director Nia DaCosta has claimed that the version of the Marvels that eventually found its way into theaters was completely different from both the one she originally pitched and the one she actually put to film. Now, I am not shocked by this because, like I stated in my review for that movie, you could tell it was a cut and paste job. You could tell it was a cut and paste job. Large portions of that movie made absolutely no sense, no matter how you tried to look at it. You could literally tell it was a cut and paste job. DaCosta, who many readers may also recognize as the director of 2021's Candyman reboot, revealed this alleged switch up to her original creative vision for Carol Danvers' latest outing while speaking to attendees at the 2025 Storyhouse Screenwriting Festival. So here she was there, and this is what she had to say. Was also taking the stage as one of the annual events guests and all of that. Then I The director reflected on the ins and outs of her filmmaking career, including her brief dance with the MCU, which she admitted was more frustrating than fun due to the franchise's factory line production style, albeit in much more positive terms. They had a date and they were prepping certain things, and you just have to lean into the process hardcore. Recall DaCosta to her host. The director of the upcoming Megan spin-off Soulmate, the way they make those films is very different to the way ideally I would make a film. So you just have to lean into the process and hope for the best. The best didn't happen this time, but you kind of have to trust in the machine. So not shocking. Marvel MCU at that time wanted to put out as much content as possible. They know it was terrible, but they figured if they could just bombard people with as much crap as possible because they were pushing that whole MCU thing hard. And they were hoping that, eventually the so-called modern audience was going to come along, even though they don't actually exist. And because of that, we got idiotic characters like this Dar Ben, who was literally a race swap, not really not race swap, but a race and gender swap version of Dar Ben from comics. That's what they wanted. They literally did this nonsense. Hmm. This character's entire motivation and everything that was happening made no sense whatsoever. None. But somehow they were acting like this was supposed to be something for people to actually care about. Not sure why, but that's what it was. She continues on, yet despite her ostensible attempt to take a chin-up attitude towards the situation, the director then detailed a fact about the Marvel's production that would burn any filmmaker. That rather than resembling her take on the Marvel trio's big screen team up, the film post production process saw it shredded into the disastrous final cut that audiences ultimately receive. Like I said, I'm not shocked that this movie did not cross 200 million worldwide. It was terribly done. You could tell that they cut and paste several things in that movie. Adding to her point about the Marvel machine, the Costa asserted it was interesting because there was a certain point when I was like, okay, this isn't going to be the movie that I pitched or even the first version of the movie that I shot. So I realized that this is now an experience and it's a learning curve, and it really makes you stronger as a filmmaker in terms of your ability to navigate. So you put out a movie and they cut it up, cut here, cut there, stitch there, run that, stitch off that, pull that in, put that there, stitch that up, and you're saying, well, that make me stronger as a filmmaker. Okay, good for you. I gotta tell you that. I don't know how to learn that. And in definitively confirming that the MCU experience was wildly unsatisfying, the director closed out a comic book theme recollection by telling Dolan that immediately after wrapping on the Marvels, I called my team and I said that I need to make Hedda, her upcoming film adaptation of the famed Norwegian play Hedda Gabler, which follows the titular lead as she laments being trapped in an unhappy marriage and life. A little on the nose there, Nia DaCosta, a little on the nose. I had written it years ago, and I said that I really needed to go back to that because this isn't fulfilling in the way I need it to be. Look, they hired Nia DaCosta and they played that heavily that, oh, she's a black woman directing this movie. You need to come out and see it. And she leaned into it. Let's not try and sugarcoat it here. Nia DaCosta leaned into pushing that race narrative. But we all know what that movie was. I saw the thing, it was an absolute abomination. And I'm not shocked again that the movie crashed and burned that hard. And now you're coming out here and saying, hey, you know what, after doing that movie, I need to go and make another movie that is literally representative of a woman trapped in an unhappy marriage and life. Yeah, little on the nose there, sweetheart. A little on the nose. DaCosta previously spoke to her behind the scenes frustrations with Marvel Studios and their production ecosystem while speaking to Vanity Fair's Rebecca Ford in September 2023, just months ahead of the Marvel's release. Sometimes you'd be in a scene and you'd be like, what the hell does any of this shit mean? She said, or actors looking at some crazy thing happening in space and they're actually looking at a blue screen, a blue X. They obviously had this and days where you're like, this just isn't working. Well, I'm sorry, my dear, but none of this ever actually was gonna work. This that was never gonna work. Never gonna work. Nobody digged Carol Danvers, aka Ms. Marvel, in a movie. The only reason that anybody went and saw that movie because they came out and told people, listen, you need to see this before you see Endgame. And that was a lie. But people were really hyped up on seeing it, so they went and see so the movie made money. Then you have Ms. Marvel over here. A thing against the actress, but you have the lowest rated, or the low, I should say the lowest watched MCU series on Disney, but nobody watches. I watched 2 episodes and I was out because I saw what was going to happen and I was like, nah, I done with this and I gone. That was it. We know what's going on. We got that. And then you literally have here, I don't know, take it, photo, whatever the hell you want to call her, Monica Rambeau. You understand me? Who was in Wonder Vision, but didn't really make much of an impact to suddenly be elevated to anything. This was never gonna work. This was a terribly attempted feminist narrative that failed miserably. That's what it was. And you could pretend it wasn't all you want. It lost a lot of money. And now the director come and say, you know what, this wasn't the movie that I ever intended to make. Well, my dear, what can I say? The movie came out, it's attached to your name. You're gonna have to live with that. That's all. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. I have a different opinion. I'd love to hear it. If you like it, really hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Ring the notification bell. Be notified every time I upload a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.